The SAS is the Special Forces regiment upon which all others are based. Few are tough enough to pass selection. But what does it take to survive once you make it into the Special Air Service? Using a series of dramatic scenarios, a team of hardened ex-SAS veterans have agreed to reveal the survival secrets that kept them alive. The commander of our four-man patrol is former SAS Sergeant Eddie Stone. With him is demolitions expert John McAleese, the first man on the balcony in the Iranian embassy siege. Additional firepower and expertise is provided by Johnny and Pete. We've had to protect their identities. Together, they'll show you how members of the world's most elite regiment fight and survive, and reveal just what it takes to wear this badge. In this episode, we'll see how the SAS carry out close-quarter battle techniques in a counter-terrorist role, similar to those performed in the famous Iranian embassy siege.
For any counter-terrorist operation to be a success, there is three essential factors it must have: speed, aggression, surprise.
Assaulting a building is a lethal act and is just as dangerous for the hostages and the assault team as it is for the terrorists. The men in black are only ever called upon to resolve a siege scenario as a last resort. The secret to this and the Special Air Service's extraordinary fighting skills is training. In this episode of SAS Survival Secrets, we're going to show you all the elements needed to perfect the art of counter-terrorist maneuvers. In the last program, we created the fictitious scenario of a foreign diplomatic visit. A British minister and her staff have been kidnapped at gunpoint and held hostage by terrorists seeking political reform.
Where the hell are you?
Shut it! You wanted to meet the MLA? Here we are.
The authorities and our SAS team have managed to track down the location of the terrorists, and a siege scenario has now evolved. Tensions inside the building have escalated, and despite intense police negotiations, the terrorists have resorted to killing one of the hostages. Tactically, the terrorists have made a huge mistake. They've now inadvertently given the green light for members of Eddie's counter-terrorist team to go in and resolve the situation.
Okay, let's go, lads.
So, what were the events that led to the SAS developing the best counter-terrorist unit in the world? The horrifying threat posed by modern terrorism began when 11 Israeli athletes were murdered at the 1972 Olympic Games in Munich. The repercussions around the Western world were immense. International terrorism had come of age. As a direct result of this, the British government turned to the SAS to answer this menace. They had already been developing an anti-terrorist force from their existing counter-revolutionary warfare unit. Perhaps the most famous of all hostage rescues was witnessed by millions of people live on television in 1980. The stunningly successful conclusion to the Iranian embassy siege in London brought the SAS worldwide acclaim and notoriety. One of our team, John McAleese, was part of that infamous rescue.
Everything that we'd done within the embassy itself on the assault, I mean, every aspect of that has been covered over and over again through training, where it was actually going through a window or through a door, guys coming doing ropes, the actual room combat. I mean, we'd all done it hundreds and hundreds of times before. So it was just a continuation of the training phase, except it was for real.
We'll be reuniting Mac with one of the hostages whose life he saved, Sim Harris. This will be the first time they've met since that traumatic day over 20 years ago.
He was just this man in the frogman suit. I thought, oh wow, you know, we're being rescued.
The fates of the visiting British minister, her attaché, and the assistant of the now deceased Mostovian president all hang in the balance. In capturing such high-profile hostages, the terrorists believe that they hold all the cards. By executing one of the captives, they now also believe that the authorities have to take them seriously and will capitulate to their demands. In their minds, they are in control. They are winning. On the outside of our scenario, the local authorities have been working hard toward a peaceful conclusion, but negotiations have so far been in vain. Meanwhile, nearby on 24-hour standby are members of Eddie's counter-terrorist unit. In the Special Air Service, this squadron is known as the Team. The SAS keeps an entire squadron on permanent standby to deal with terrorist situations such as hostage rescues wherever they may arise. Each SAS squadron will take turns on hostage rescue and counter-terrorist duties. Split into 2 teams, red and blue, each team will take it in turns to be on 30 minutes or 3 hours standby, ready to react to any emergency situation at home or abroad. The success of incidents like the Iranian embassy siege belittles the extreme dangers of such assaults. For every success story, there are plenty of other examples of assaults that did not go according to plan. In February 1993, agents from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco and Firearms attempted to raid the Branch Davidian religious compound in Waco, Texas. The attack was a disaster, resulting in the deaths of 4 agents and provoking a month-long siege. Eventually, the FBI decided to force the occupants out of the ranch, using armored engineering vehicles pumping tear gas into the buildings. In the resulting confusion, a fire broke out that engulfed the compound and claimed the lives of 75 of the occupying religious fundamentalists. It was later alleged that the blaze started as a result of the highly inflammable tear gas pumped into the building during the assault. The importance of intelligence and thorough planning were the crucial lessons learned from that day. Meticulous planning is the backbone of any successful counter-terrorist operation. Every minute detail of the target building needs to be scrutinized, including exact details of door locks, window fastenings, skylights, security and alarm systems. The SAS also has a vast computer library containing 3-dimensional building plans of thousands of properties. Those not in existence can be generated in a matter of hours using sophisticated software. This is a tremendous asset to the assault planning process and allows the team to visualize every position in and around the target to check for angles of fire and possible obstructions. All this information is then accumulated by a team of planners, local authorities, architects and engineers in the Incident Control Center.
We moved on from this, drawing sketch maps, to this, interactive technology using plasma screens, so that we can work out a deliberate assault plan to take out the building.
Whilst the authorities outside the siege building rush to gather planning and intelligence data, inside, the hostages have now endured days of what seems like an eternal nightmare. The terrorists have demonstrated their true intent and ruthless commitment to their cause. After days of being held captive, the hostages are now suffering from the emotional trauma of losing the Moldovan president. With the shooting of a fellow captive comes a new dimension of fear, the very real possibility that you will be the next to be executed. One man who has come face to face with that horror is Sim Harris. Whilst working as a BBC sound recordist, he became one of the hostages in the Iranian embassy siege. In April 1980, 6 armed gunmen took over the Iranian embassy in London, gaining 26 hostages in the process. The terrorists were seeking the independence of the Iranian province of Arabistan and were threatening to kill hostages unless their demands were met. Within hours, the SAS were put on standby in case an assault became necessary. After 6 days of intense negotiations and countless threats, the gunman resorted to killing one of the hostages. His death triggered the start of a chain of events that resulted in one of the world's most stunning hostage rescues. Sim Harris will always remember those fateful moments as one of his fellow hostages, Abbas Lavasani, the embassy press officer, was shot.
I think there were then 4 shots, and the second in command came into the room some moments later, and Trevor Morris, who was the embassy chauffeur come caretaker, he said, "Have you killed him?" And this guy Ali said, "Yes, and we're going to kill one of you every half hour." When the tension went up at the end, I mean, we just didn't speak. No one said a word. No one wanted to be picked out. Everybody thought it was them next. I know it sounds daft, but I was actually adding up what my BBC pension would pay out for my wife and 2 children. You know, I was absolutely scared to death. I mean, there was no talk between the hostages. The tension you could have cut with a knife.
Whilst Sim was fearing for his life, the SAS were planning one of the most daring assaults in counter-terrorist history. The plan revolved around striking quick and hard. As more time goes by, as more intelligence is gleaned about the building, terrorists and the hostages, the team's intelligence gathering operation goes from strength to strength. The passing of time allows the creation of a detailed assault plan and starts to shift the balance of initiative away from the terrorists' hands. The hostages may not realize it, but their chances of survival have started to increase for the first time. The terrorists can only guess about what is going on outside. One of the most crucial factors is how to get into the building in the first place. This discipline is known as methods of entry.
When assaulting a building, there is 2 types of method of entry. Firstly, overt, when you're going to use explosives, as you've seen in the Iranian embassy siege. Second, covert, when you want to move silently into the building as far as possible without alerting the enemy.
Whether it's covert or overt, surprise is the key factor to a successful assault. Overt methods of entry rely more on speed, loud explosions and movement in an attempt to overwhelm the enemy. Where a covert entry is planned, it's all about stealth, silence, and even deception. The team is trying to get as close as possible to the enemy position or stronghold without detection. However, should the team be compromised, the offensive will go noisy and instantly transform to an overt assault. Both tactics will utilize specialist entry equipment for the task. For the covert MOE team, their kit must be silent but potent.
This machine here is a separator but also a cutting machine. You can jam this in between bars, operate it. The jaws will open up to give you easier access. This has got a 20-ton cutting force. Spreading, it's got a 4-ton spreading force. So it will cut through metal bars like a knife through butter. This piece of equipment here is a hydraulic door opener. Take it up to the door, fit it in between, pump up the hydraulics, turn the lever, and a ram will come out and knock the door down.
In order to disguise any noise made by the entry team, various sound distractions may be arranged to raise the ambient noise around the target area. In the Iranian embassy siege, Heathrow's air traffic was ordered to fly lower and closer than normal over the siege vicinity, raising noise levels subtly but effectively. When a more dynamic entry is necessary, serenity is not an issue. Getting to the target as quickly as possible is.
When doing the close target recce of the stronghold, you're going to be looking at the doors you're going to make entry through. You're going to look at them to see how strong they are. From that you will decide which tool you're going to use for that specific door. In this case, we're going to use the hooligan bar. Like. When you're inside the building, next to the stronghold, you've made your covert entry, you're about to go noisy, you've got to get in there quick. To enable us to do that, we're going to use the dynamic hammer. As you can see, that's quite effective. When entering a stronghold, you may come across a stronger door. For instance, an industrial fire door. For that, you use the Remington 870 Magnum shotgun with the Hatton round. The Hatton round fires a solid plastic slug. You use that into the hinges, 1, 2, and finally into the lock, 3. Push the door over and you're inside.
Blowing a door off its hinges is just one example of explosive MOE techniques that encompass the SAS blueprint of speed, aggression, and surprise. But just because a door is there, it doesn't mean that they have to be used. John McAleese is an expert in demolitions.
You might not even use the door or the window, because you could have terrorists in there and they're thinking, aha, if they are going to come in, they're going to come through that door or the window, so they might barricade them. So instead of going through there, you go through the wall. You become sneaky, you know.
A special device called a frame charge is used for blowing holes in a wall. Plastic explosive is positioned on a purpose-built board and is designed to force the explosion forward through the wall.
If there's, say, hostages the other side of that barrier, you know, and you're using explosive entry, it can't be too big because you'll damage them inside. That's where you've got to make a quick decision, you know. Is the risk of them getting slightly injured greater than saving their life, you know? You've got to get that happy balance.
The same frame charge can also be used for blowing out windows. The effectiveness of this technique was illustrated in the Iranian embassy assault, where Mac was watched by millions as he blew out the window on the embassy balcony.
Depending on how thick the, how can I say, the obstruction is, whether it's a window or a wall, depending on the strength of the explosive that you're going to use, because it comes in different weights, from about 50 gram up to, say, 180 gram. We used the biggest we had at the time because we weren't quite sure how strong the glass was, because it was armour plated, so I'd say maybe slightly over the top, but it's got to be safe and sorry.
In the case of the Iranian embassy, the main points of entry for the teams were through the window and roof skylight. The eventual assault came from 3 directions, with the main attack from the rear. To get into final position, the teams carefully abseiled their way onto the various balconies.
When attacking a multi-storey building, it might be necessary to attack all floors simultaneously. To enable us to do that, we must be able to abseil. Okay, let's have a look at the equipment. We have a full body harness. We use a full body harness because it keeps us nice and erect when we're coming down the face of the building. Attached to the body harness, a carabiner and a pretzel. Always a lock gate carabiner, so it's nice and secure, firm and safe. The pretzel is used to enable us to operate hands-free. It also allows us to stop at any time, take both hands off the pretzel, and allows us to move both hands, whether we want to put explosives on to gain entry, or whether we want to draw our weapon to engage any terrorists that we see inside the building. Quick demonstration, please, John. Hands off, perfectly static. Pull your weapon out. You can draw his sidearm or you can draw his MP5 if required. Holster your weapon. Okay, pal, see you at the bottom.
During assaults, ropes may be used in a variety of ways. In areas of difficult access and where sheer speed is required, teams may be deployed using fast roping techniques. In hostage rescue scenarios, every second counts, and the quickest way of getting a team off a helicopter is by using fast ropes, which can deploy a team of 40 soldiers in a matter of seconds. There are no hooks or fastenings. Gravity and a good grip is all the ingredients needed to get down. In any scenario, the squadron will plan to attack the building in a number of ways. Multiple teams will aim to assault the building from all directions. Sometimes aerial deployment is just not practical. And where a large area of open ground needs to be covered quickly, the SAS may employ certain methods that may appear somewhat unorthodox. The risks involved in performing a hostage rescue are immense and represent one of the most dangerous aspects of the SAS's duties, particularly when hostages and terrorists are in close proximity or in the same room as one another. This is when the team will rely heavily on their CQB skills. CQB, or close quarter battle, is a form of fighting developed by the SAS and covers a wide range of pistol and submachine gun techniques, room entry procedures, and fast but deadly unarmed combat maneuvers. All are essential skills that need to become second nature when it comes to counter-terrorist scenarios. These unique abilities are perfected in a building at SAS headquarters, affectionately known as the Killing House. This purpose-built facility is designed with the express intent of recreating all kinds of hostage scenarios, giving soldiers the opportunity to learn, practice, and hone their shooting skills. When on hostage rescue duties, the team will spend many, many hours in the Killing House, expending thousands of rounds of ammunition. Realism is essential, and therefore only live bullets are used. When first joining the SAS, most soldiers arrive with no prior experience of firing either a pistol or a submachine gun. Training starts with the basics. The first thing a soldier must learn is how to draw, hold, and fire his pistol quickly and accurately. Reaction times are everything in a lethal confrontation, and a team member must be able to draw their gun in a split second to give them the advantage. During CQB, terrorists will be pumped up on adrenaline. They might even be high on drugs. Sometimes one shot just isn't enough. And when he's got his finger on a trigger, you need to make sure he goes down. For that reason, SAS soldiers must learn to perfect the double tap.
If you fire one shot, you may not bring that guy down. If you fire two shots in quick succession, within a couple of inches of each other, it's like getting hit with a sledgehammer twice. That will put him down.
The pistol is mostly used as a backup weapon. The main weapon of choice for all SAS counter-terrorists is the MP5. The MP5 is well recognized as one of the most accurate and reliable submachine guns in the world. Learning how to fire it accurately needs to become second nature. A team member will spend hundreds of hours becoming more and more confident with their weapon, to a point where it becomes an extension of their hand.
We normally use it on single shot and fire double taps, obviously for control. You don't want to get into a building with your on fully automatic and start spraying bullets all around the place, because you're going to end up killing the hostages as well as the terrorists.
Fractions of a second are all that separates you from killing or being killed. In these fleeting moments, you have to make critical analysis of the situation and ensure that you're aiming at the right position and the right target. Video screens have now been introduced to the Killing House, reconstructing different scenarios. A team member has a split second to make a decision on whether or not to shoot. In our siege scenario, tensions are starting to rise within the camp.
Shut up!
This is when the negotiator's skills are put to the test.
Hello, Tajik. How can I help?
By now, the terrorists will be highly suspicious, knowing that an attack on them may be imminent.
No, we know you are watching us. We know you are making plans. was only one important place.
The others we just killed.
The negotiator must remain calm and helpful, projecting a neutral persona, avoiding confrontation, and trying to establish a positive rapport.
The whole situation very seriously, and you have
To understand that I'm doing
all in my power to try and resolve this peacefully. That's ultimately what I want. I just want a peaceful conclusion to this.
Meanwhile, the situation is being constantly monitored by the command team. Sophisticated surveillance equipment will allow them to observe movements and conversations, whilst infrared and thermal imaging systems mean that the scene can be observed 24 hours a day. Snipers will have been in position for some time, gathering intelligence and constantly reporting every minute development. However, at any moment their role could change dramatically. The sniper has a myriad of responsibilities in a hostage scenario. As well as observing and relaying crucial intelligence, they will be covering the movement of all personnel and preventing terrorist escape attempts. During an assault, they will be constantly monitoring the team's progress and report any new hazards or terrorist activity.
White 1-8 with a balaclava on, unidentified, carrying along.
When the time comes, they will be ready to dispense a precisely aimed shot wherever necessary. After being fully briefed about the incident, the sniper teams will be deployed around the target area, each allocated a side of the building to cover, based on a color labeling system. For our scenario, the area is split into 4 zones: white, green, black, and red. White normally being the front of the target building.
Come on, lads. Okay. Just move through the police cordon now, right? You're going to move into red. Can you cut down this wall of this building here, and then cut through, and I'll show you the position from down there, yeah? Okay? Any probs?
No, fine.
Okay. Okay, lads, stronghold just down here to the right? It's about 150 metres away.
Each sniper team will take it in turns on duty. 6 hours on, 6 hours off. Snipers will wear the same black kit as the assault team when positioning in a built-up area, but can switch to a ghillie suit when hiding in deep foliage.
Okay, we're looking on to black, yeah? We've got a little view of red as well, once a little block of red, yeah? So what we're going to do is we just move forward another maybe 5-8 metres, try and pick up a position there, get down, just check you get a decent sight picture there.
The sniper will have at least 2 rifles, one for daytime use and one fitted with a night vision scope. They will have been through exactly the same training as every other member of the SAS and may therefore be called upon to join the assault team if necessary. The sniper teams are coordinated from the operations centre, normally by a sniper commander who will be in contact with the teams via radio. It is his decision and orders that will initiate a sniper assault.
0, this is a radio check, over.
Roger, Sniper 1, come back.
Yeah, 3 in position on black, over.
Right, let's have a look at the sniper team in a counter-terrorist situation. The spotter's role. He's looking through the binos. He's got a wider view of vision of the target area. He's also looking for any movement in the building. As soon as he sees that movement, he will notify his sniper. The sniper will then pick up his weapon, look through his telescopic sight, and try and pick up the X-rays, or enemy in other words, which is in the stronghold. This information is being relayed back to control at all times, reporting back any information on the target area. The sniper rifle of choice of the SAS is the L96A1. Very accurate weapon, accurate up to 1,000 metres. Let's run through the weapon. You've got a butt. This butt can be extended or shortened depending on the size of the person who's operating the weapon. You must keep the weapon on your shoulder nice and firm at all times when you're going to take a shot. The telescopic sight It's 8 times magnification by 42 mils peripheral vision. You've got some Velcro on both sides. Attached to that is going to be your signalling device. This system, pressure switch here, is attached to a small transmitter which will send a signal back to the control every time you've got a target. So you press that, a green light will appear back in the control centre. They know that you've got a target in your sights and you're ready to shoot.
There are times when the commanding officer may decide a sniper-led assault is more appropriate than a CQB. In a sniper-led assault, the commander will have decided in advance how many green lights he needs to have the best chance of a successful assault. He will wait patiently until he sees as many green lights as possible before giving the command to attack. So what if, in our siege scenario, an opportunity arose where snipers have the chance to eliminate the terrorists with minimum risk to the hostages? This tactic would also utilize a ground assault team as backup. It takes patience, nerve, and a tremendous amount of skill to operate a sniper rifle. When the moment comes to give the green light, some kind of distraction will be arranged to give the assault team a split-second advantage.
Sending.
All stations, stand by. Stand by. Go.
The decision to perform an assault is never taken lightly, and is the last resort when all other means have been exhausted. In the Iranian embassy siege, there were 6 long days of negotiations for a peaceful conclusion before the decision was made to hand the task over to the SAS. During that time, the SAS teams waited patiently in a nearby secret location, well hidden from the public eye.
All the time we were actually in the holding area, we're practicing every sort of aspect of what may happen, you know, actually at the time if the assault went in. Because remember at this time, nobody really knew we'd actually get used because the police were still negotiating with the terrorists inside. But we were there, stood by, just in case things kicked off. For the actual floor layout of the building, initially what we actually did was we were in the barracks and we actually drew the floor plan out on the floor, some of the big rooms. So we were actually walking between chalk lines, so you actually knew where doors were and walls were, things like that. It's just a method of trying to get in your mind's eye where everything was, because realistically, if you're going into something like this, it's going to be dark. So you're causing confusion for the so-called enemy, and you're sort of working blind. So if you've got that picture of the layout in your mind, you can do it without thinking, and hopefully you'll not run into a wall in the dark.
Intimate knowledge of the target building layout is an essential commodity for hostage rescue situations. Back in Mostovia, our team have now built up an accurate picture of the blueprint of the stronghold, based on architects' plans and sniper intelligence. They now have enough information to mock up a precise layout of the target.
Come through the door, double door, straight through. Immediately we turn left. All right, turn left, stairwell. Normal drill's doing up the stairwell, one guy covering it all the time till we get up to where we're going to. Nice and slow, up we go. There's 13 steps on this stairwell. Up we go, up to the top of the first landing. Guy here obviously covering. Guy at the bottom covering. Pass by, up. Second set of stairs, up to the floor that we're going into. 14 stairs. Up we go. Get to the top of the stairwell, and immediately to the left-hand side is another double glass door. Open the door, check the corridor. Good point. What you need to bring with us is a mirror, lads, yeah? Nobody in the corridor, put it down, In we go. Nice and slow, steady. Up we go. All the way. In position, in position. Stand by, go. When in a room in counter-terrorism, the first thing that I am looking for when I enter is my main area of threat, which is this guy here. I'm immediately going to take him out. But I must allow space behind me to allow Johnny access into the room. Once you're in the room, it's important. When you've adopted that position, you stay there, stand there still. You can't start running around the room, because what will happen is you will end up crossing into his line of fire. At that same time, Pete will come into the room, or pass into the room, and he will be looking to make sure that none of us is taken out, in other words, shot, or we have a stoppage. As this is going on, John Mack is in the corridor. We've got to have a man in the corridor at all times looking down there to ensure that everything works cohesively.
An SAS counter-terrorist team trains ceaselessly to perfect the room clearance routine. They must be able to burst into a room and identify and eliminate any threat in just a matter of seconds. When a team bursts into a room, it needs to build on the element of surprise and prevent the terrorists from reacting. An essential tool in accomplishing this task is the flashbang, also known as the stun grenade. This is a key component of the anti-terrorist armory and was originally devised by the SAS. Its main purpose is to disorientate the terrorist by letting off a deafening bang and a blinding flash of light. No matter how prepared you are, this device will incapacitate anyone who happens to be in close proximity. A flashbang can produce up to 160 decibels of sound. That's the equivalent of standing next to a jet engine.
Until you've sat in a room with a flashbang going off, you cannot believe how distracting it is. You can be the most highly trained guy, but if you've never been in a room with a flashbang before, it's going to distract you from what you want to do. And that's all we need. We just need that half-second element of surprise to get in that door and take care of any enemy that's in that room. During the training, we use live flashbangs. And this is done so that you become used to them. You become immune to them. You don't actually see them. You've experienced 100, 200 times being sat in a room with flashbangs going in. So you know exactly what's going to happen.
When throwing a flashbang, the team may choose to accompany it with tear gas. Orthochlorobenzamalenitride, or CS gas, is designed to put the victim out of action by attacking the respiratory system and the lacrimal glands within about 3 to 7 seconds. It will force closing of the eyes and breathing difficulty, rendering the victim powerless.
This once again will cause a major distraction and major disability to any terrorist in the room. But don't forget, this is also affecting the hostage. You've got to get in there quickly, do that job quickly, so you can then extract the hostages out of there, because if you leave them too long in a gas environment, they can end up choking and possibly dying.
In the days of the embassy, we had the old gas masks, and it's like being in a goldfish bowl. Looking to the front is great, but if you sort of turn your eyes left or right, all you could see was something black. So instead of sort of moving your eyes left to right, you're actually turning your whole body, you know, so you can see what you're looking at. When the gas mask is fitting, how can I say, properly, the gas doesn't affect you, providing you fitted it properly. But it's easy for your gas mask to get nudged or bumped or whatever. Well, it happened to me in the old embassy. I don't know how it moved, but we used a couple of flashbangs that had the gas in them, and I got a good whiff, and basically I puked up inside the old gas mask. You know, it happens. But it's a good way to get, if you've got a cold, it's a good way of clearing your sort of nasal tubes, yeah.
Gas is a very powerful asset to the counter-terrorist team's arsenal. Anesthetics can be used to render everyone inside a building unconscious, but this is a very dangerous proposition, only ever contemplated by authorities when a massacre seems certain. Moscow. 41 Chechen gunmen storm a theatre taking more than 800 people hostage. Armed with guns and a large amount of explosive, they demanded the independence of their native land of Chechnya from Russia and insisted they would blow up the theatre complete with hostages if their demands weren't met. In the early hours of the 27th of October, the Russian Special Forces equivalent of the SAS, the Spetsnaz, pumped a potent, fast-acting gas named fentanyl into the theatre and then stormed it by force. The gas successfully prevented the Chechens from putting up any resistance, and the vast majority of the 800 hostages were saved from being blown up. But 129 of the captives died in the attack. All but 2 of these were due to fentanyl gas. The cavernous space inside the theatre meant that the attackers had to indiscriminately pump in vast amounts of gas through every available opening, air vents, doorways, and windows. The gas would have been strongest at the point of entry, incapacitating some, but delivering a lethal dose to others. Back in our mission, precious seconds are ticking by in Mostovia. But an officially signed document from the government handing control over to the SAS is required before the assault can go ahead. In the interim, the team have found some local buildings with similar layouts to the target. They have now been converted into a makeshift killing house to practice assault maneuvers. The teams have performed these drills hundreds of times before, but when it comes to counter-terrorism, there's no room for complacency.
Stand by. Stand by. No!
When not practicing, the team will be based in a holding area where they can eat, drink, and relax.
In the days of the embassy, and the snooker championships was on, and everybody's well into that, you know. Just the lads were doing their normal thing. A lot of them, you know, taking the mickey out of their lads, making a fool of with this couple of sort of policemen taking care of us. They were like our waiters and things, you know, make sure we get fed and looked after. And, you know, sort of take the mickey out of them and practical joking, the normal thing, you know. Just lads being lads, you know.
Normally, there will be 2 teams who alternate being on standby in a forward holding position next to the target building, ready to launch an immediate assault should the need arise. With the likelihood of a peaceful conclusion slipping away by the minute, in our siege scenario, the final amendments to the deliberate assault plan are put into place.
This is my entry point with my team to go into the building. This is the stronghold. My team is going to assault. This stage here, we have just made entry. When we get to the door, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick a mirror out of the door so I can look down both sides of the corridor. We start making our way, coming down towards the stronghold. We know, hopefully, there's a terrorist going to be in this other room. John Mack, he is covering that door to make sure if he comes out of there to take the appropriate action. We enter into the room. As soon as we've cleared the main room, John Mack will go in to the other room and take care of the other X-ray in the adjoining room.
We are trying to do things as quickly as we can.
11th hour negotiations continue in the futile hope of a peaceful settlement. But the inescapable fact is, the lives of the remaining hostages are at serious risk. Our SAS team must go in without delay. In our scenario, up to this point, local authorities were in control of the situation. Now, that dominion is soon to be handed over to the SAS. But first, let's analyse the breakdown of the assault.
At this stage here, we've reached the first door, the entrance to the building. The lead guy, which in this case is John Mack, he's not going to move until he gets touched on the shoulder by the rest of the team. What he's looking for at that point, he's looking to see if this door's booby-trapped, if there's any wires attached to it. When going up the stairs of any building, don't forget, it may be night time, you've got your respirators on. you may be wearing night vision goggles. It's very difficult to get any perspective of distance. If you walk up the stairs normally, there's a good chance you're going to start kicking either the stair in front of you or in some cases trip over. So it's easier to put your foot sideways up the stair as you're going up. Keeps everything nice and slow, nice and quiet. At this stage here, we're now proceeding down the corridor. I've moved Pete to the left-hand side of that corridor. I'm at the front on the right-hand side. So we've got both weapons able to put fire down that corridor any time we happen to see a terrorist pop out of a room. We get to the door of the stronghold where the hostages are. Before I make entry into that room, I will report back to control and tell them that I am in position. I may then have to hold that position for a period of time until the rest of the teams are all ready and in position to assault each room in that building simultaneously. Once every team has reported back, the commander, the OC, will then give us the standby, go. Immediately outside the building will be a distraction, a loud fireball. At the same time as that, I am opening the door. The second man will throw a flashbang into that room as I am going through. I am looking, immediately covering all aspects of that room to see where my main area of threat is. The speed that we go through that room and the aggression when we go through the room, ordering all the hostages, get on the floor, get on the floor. This is very important because you've got to have that control over them, and they've got to realise that if they don't move, they're quickly going to get knocked down and put on the floor. I will immediately shout, room clear. This is for Pete and John Mack because they've got a second room to clear. They'll go through that door, Pete will throw in a flashbang, John Mack will enter and take out any terrorists in that room. When the room is cleared, I will then move back into the primary room. Don't forget, as we're assaulting this main stronghold, every other room in that building is being assaulted at the same time. There could be another 12 teams operating in that building. Clearing the rooms, making sure that the building is safe. We may have only spotted 4 or 5 terrorists. There may be more. As the hostages are getting exfilled out of the building, they get passed down the line and they will be taken out of the building and held in a secure area until they're checked and then led off for medical treatment if required.
After enduring more than 4 days of the terrors of being held captive, the hostages' fate now lies in the hands of our SAS team. The threat to their lives is now at the highest point since initial capture, as there can never be any guarantee of 100% success when it comes to stronghold assaults. Injuries and fatalities amongst the hostages are now a very real possibility. So finally, control has been handed over to our team. The mission is on.
When authority is passed over to the counter-terrorist team, most of the guys have a feeling of exhilaration. And this is what it all boils down to. That's what you're there for. You have trained maybe for years in some case, maybe 10 years, 15 years, for this chance to prove your worth in a counter-terrorist situation. But when you actually get ready, kitted up to go, there's a slight feeling of apprehension, obviously. But that is overcome mainly by the adrenaline rushing through the body and the exhilaration to go in there and put your life on the line and face the enemy.
After days of planning and years of training, a successful assault can be over in just a matter of minutes. But this belies the extraordinary skill, training, and behind-the-scenes coordination that makes it all happen. In the moments before an assault, the colossal amount of training that is the backbone of the counter-terrorist team takes over to produce an awesome assault force that is always one step ahead.
control. Stand by. Stand by. Go!
The vastly prepared members of the assault team have experienced every element of this kind of confrontation hundreds of times before. But for a hostage, such as Sim Harris, it's a terrifying experience they're not likely to forget.
There was a tinkling of glass, and this then plunged, seemingly about the same time, the embassy went into darkness. And then flashbangs started to go off, and clearly, you know, it sounded though the World War was starting. And at that point, I was just panic-stricken, and I had to get out. And I went to this one window, I pulled the curtains back, and I opened the shutters, and there was this just amazing character in black with a gas mask on and a gun across his chest and a pistol and boots. And then, you know, I immediately thought, oh, Christ, you know, our police are up to some tricks these days. The guy waved for me to get down, and then the window was blown out. The guys in black came in, and the last one said through his gas mask, stay there, don't move. The problem was the room behind me was catching fire, and I thought it was safer to get out onto the balcony. So I crawled onto the balcony, and there was another guy in black across on another balcony on the other side of the flagpole, calling me across. I actually thought, this is absolutely madness. They're going to take me back into the burning embassy. Anyway, I followed the instructions and climbed over the flagpole back into the embassy. And the SAS had formed a chain, effectively, down the stairs. The women had no shoes on. They were being bundled down the stairs, literally thrown from one SAS guy to the next. I mean, the SAS do not ask you nicely to leave an embassy. And out onto the back lawn, firmly pushed into the mud, your hands put behind your back, and these vicious tie straps put on and told not to move. I was lying there thinking, you know, what has happened to me? I've been involved in a feature film almost. And then, you know, eventually we were released from these handcuffs and processed through a police horse box that had been set up as a medical station. It was an amazing period, unscripted period of my life that has no doubt had an impact on me. It certainly made me a little bit more grateful to be alive every day and to look forward to tomorrow, because I do believe I came very close to being killed.
The mysterious man in black who greeted Sim at the embassy window on that fateful day was none other than John McAleese. Since that day, the two of them have never met face to face. Now, more than 20 years later, we've arranged for them to meet again.
Glad
Well,
to see you tomorrow, mate. Yeah. Nice to meet you. Yeah. How's life treating you? Good?
Alright.
Magic, mate, yeah.
You alright?
Changed much.
Thank you.
You got a wee bit,
You've changed a lot.
No, not really, mate.
Well, I've never seen you before, have I?
Covered in black, mate.
Yeah. I mean, were you expecting, you weren't expecting anybody at that window?
No, believe it or not, that was a shock. Because we knew there was people in the next room with Salem.
Yeah.
Yeah. But just as we stepped onto the balcony, you know, you appeared.
Yeah.
And it was, I mean, I was putting the charge against the window and you just went like that.
Yeah.
And then Mal was giving it wavy for you to get out of the way, otherwise you'd have got injured. To be honest with you, I mean, when we came back through after the window had blown, I didn't expect you to look up, to be honest with you, you know. And you had that
Yeah. Frightened rabbit.
Yeah, but the thing was, you were alive.
Did you bring me back in again?
Yeah, it was
That
me,
was
mate.
you?
Yeah,
Oh,
it was me, mate. Yeah, yeah.
What they'd have done next, I really don't know. They could have gone one way or the other. They could have just given up and walked out, or could have started complete carnage. I just don't know. I think given the information that the police and the government had, they, thank God they got guys like you trained and prepared to come in and try and effect a rescue, which you did extremely effectively. I'll be perfectly honest, I think he's a very decent chap. Having met him now, he's quite different in the flesh than he perhaps appears on television.
Thank you.
The SAS has achieved the distinguished reputation of having the best counter-terrorist team in the world. This notoriety comes from years of experience and training, combined with the virtues that are constantly instilled into every member of the SAS. Speed, aggression, and surprise. In the next episode of SAS Survival Secrets, we have a new mission. We're going to look at what happens when a full Sabre squadron goes into action, utilizing all the specialist combat skills of the SAS. Their mission, to capture and remove a war criminal wanted for trial. It'll need survival skills found in all 4 of the troops that make up an SAS combat squadron. Air Troop, for silent, swift insertion. Boat Troop, for assaults. Mountain Troop, to reach parts where no other enemy would dare to go. And finally, Mobility Troop, trained for hit and run raids and providing covering fire for the assault.